Hello everyone, welcome to another video, another celestial tour. When we look at the history of space exploration, we realize how much space technology has changed. In a few decades, humanity will probably start colonizing celestial bodies such as the Moon and Mars. Although being a spacefaring civilization, leveling up in the Kardashev scale might not be possible for us. In my opinion, those days when we start dominating close celestial bodies will come sooner or later. A video about the Kardashev scale will come in the future. It is a fascinating topic, and honestly, it is one of my favorite topics to talk about when I discuss space with people. So stay tuned for it. For now, this video will be about the future colonization of planetary bodies. So without further ado, let's begin. Let's start with the near future, the Artemis program. As you know, I talked about the Artemis program when the SLS rocket launched back in August 2022, making a lunar flyby. This was the Artemis 1 mission. The Artemis 2 mission is going to be another mission where the Orion spacecraft is going to orbit around the Earth in November 2024, but this time with an actual crew comprising 4 astronauts. Artemis 3 is where the real thing begins. Since the Apollo 17 moon landing in 1972, the Artemis 3 mission will be the first ever mission to land astronauts on the moon since then, with the Starship HLS lander. They will be landing on the south pole of the moon. Because of the lack of a flat surface though, it will be challenging to land there. As you may remember, India was the first country to land a rover on the south pole of the moon, despite it being very challenging to land one. Just like how astronauts were staying in the capsule, but other astronauts were landing on the moon. Out of 4 of the astronauts, 2 of them will be staying in the Orion capsule and the other 2 will be doing scientific observations on the moon, for example, searching for lunar water. That's the main reason why they will be landing on the south pole, because of the presence of water there. The missions coming after Artemis 3 certainly will begin establishing colonies on the lunar surface. So what would these Artemis bases look like? How would someone survive on these bases? First of all, communication will be the most important thing for establishing a space colony. Companies like Crescent Space are aiming to provide internet and GPS for the lunar bases through the use of artificial satellites. Electricity will then be the main priority. Astrobotic is an example of a company NASA selected to develop solar panels on the moon. Since the bases will be on the South Pole, the solar panels would have to be vertical because of the sun barely peeking out of the horizon. The solar arrays will have to be connected by cables stretching kilometers. The arrays will also have to be fixed to vehicles so that they can function in different locations. Speaking of vehicles, transportation will be another important aspect of establishing lunar bases. Normally, the rovers are used by astronauts, but because of the cold lunar nights on the moon, the rovers would have to work autonomously. A company called Dynetics has built a prototype for such a vehicle. And of course, most importantly, the actual process for starting to colonize the moon would be establishing habitats for the astronauts to call them home. NASA has a contract with the company Icon, specializing in 3D printing. This will help build roads, landing strips, and dwellings. In other words, lunar houses. Inside these houses, there would be bedrooms, a kitchen, a space for scientific instruments, etc. Of course, colonizing the moon will just be a step towards something bigger, colonizing the red planet. I think everyone watching this video knows Elon Musk. Many of you know him for changing the Twitter logo, many of you know him from Tesla, and many of you, like me, know him from SpaceX and his ambition of colonizing Mars. So why is Elon Musk into colonizing Mars? Mars is a target because it is close to Earth, but it is far more than that. It is the most Earth-like planet in our solar system. See, Mars was once a habitable planet that had a lot of water, thicker atmosphere, and warmer temperatures. Unfortunately, Mars went through climate change, and scientists are now trying to learn more about the planet by observing its surface and atmosphere. There are rumors about how there was an advanced Martian civilization that destroyed their planet with nuclear weapons, but that's not our main focus right now. Today, Mars might not be very habitable, but icy water is still found on Mars. It can be found on the northern polar ice cap of Mars, for example. So how will the first astronauts be sent to Mars? How will the process of settling on Mars begin? First of all, the hazards must be studied. Understanding any biohazards on Martian soil will help humans land there accordingly. This can be done by robotic missions. Many rovers over the years have been sent to Mars to study Mars in depth. Going to Mars and coming back will be the biggest challenge. It would take a few years to go to Mars and come back. This would be a great challenge for humans traveling to Mars. A lot of resources must be supplied for this. The settlements on Mars will just be like the settlements on the Moon, just a little more advanced and resistant to the tough Martian weather. Of course, breathable air and drinkable water will be provided, just like in the lunar settlements. In the series called Away, the Moon was used as a port for rockets lifting off to Mars. In my opinion, that's not a bad idea. After colonizing the Moon and developing landing strips, it can be a great start to land the first humans on Mars. What do you think? It is very unlikely that humans will get to celestial bodies that are further than Mars, like Alpha Centauri for example. But again, science and technology change all the time. What we think is impossible today might be a reality in the future. People often argue that we should look down to our feet and take care of Earth instead of looking for adventure in space. Not going to lie, I sometimes agree when it comes to human-driven problems though. One day, our planet will also come to an end, and we will have to look for other places for living beings on Earth to continue their legacy. I'll be talking more about why space exploration isn't a waste of money, unlike what some people say in another video, so stay tuned for that. I hope you like this video about space colonization. Thank you for watching, and stay astronomical.